What's up, YouTube viewers and podcast listeners? Welcome back to MJ's Thoughts. I'm your host, MJ. About to get my thoughts. Today, I am joined by my roommate, Trevor Quinn. Say hello, Trevor.
Hello, guys.
You've probably seen him before if you're one of the 8 people who have watched any of our videos. Yeah, or not. Don't worry about it. I wanted to bring Trevor onto the podcast today because I was curious about hunting and trophy hunting specifically, and I'm not an expert in the matter whatsoever. Trevor is an avid hunter. Would you say that?
Yeah.
An avid hunter, much more than I. I've been hunting once with my mother. She's a G, and she'll rip your face off if she has to, but that's besides the point. He knows more about the situation than I do, and so I wanted to bring him on just so I could talk to him a little bit about it. So what is your experience in the hunting realm, Trevor, to start things off?
Well, I would say probably, let's see. I mean, I've done bird hunting with my dad ever since I could really remember. I started off in California. I don't know if it's changed or not, but 7.5 was the legal age where you could get your hunting license. So the day I turned 7.5, I went in and I got it. My mom had to help me take the test because I was too young at that point still. But yeah, ever since then I mainly dove hunted because I'm from the Central California area. There's a lot of bird hunting, so dove was kind of what we did mostly. And I just kind of grew up on that. And then like recently, over the past, I'd say 4 or 5 years now, I've been getting into elk hunting, and then soon probably getting into like antelope and deer. So that's kind of my background with the whole hunting.
Have you ever hunted outside of the United States before?
Yes.
You have?
Yes.
Where have you been? Where have you gone?
I have hunted down in Argentina. We went.
Was that when Gavin was there?
Actually went about a month or so before. I was actually there about a month before he was down there, so I actually beat him there, which is kind of funny. But we went down there for a week with some of my dad's farmers that he has, and then some of their kids, and we hunted dove for 3 days, and then we did duck hunt for 2 days and a partridge hunt for 1 day.
Is that the only time you've been out of the United States to hunt?
Yes.
One time you went to Argentina. What are the major differences, do you think?
Well, regulations are
not there, just non-existent.
So down in California, the regulation for hunting, let's say dove, is 35 a day, 35 dove a day per person. So down in Argentina, I ended up shooting, I think, we hunted 3.5 days because we did a half day on the first day we got there. I shot 3,500 dove.
Over 3 days?
Yeah.
You alone?
Yes, just me. I had 2 days in a row where I shot over 1,000 dove in 1 day.
Okay. What did you do with all those birds?
We actually questioned. So my family and I really love to eat dove. We think it's very tasty. We love eating, just wrapping in bacon. Great. But so we thought when we were down there, we were like, hey, can we take these? Like, can we get the meat, take it back to the United States? Well, we couldn't do that because of just legal issues.
In and out things.
With food. And then we asked them, we're like, well, what do you do with them? They're like, oh, we just leave them in the field.
No way.
Yeah, so they just left them in the field. Eventually, vultures would come down.
We shot 3,500 birds and did nothing with them.
Basically, some of the locals would eventually stop by and they would take them out of the field.
How do you feel about that?
Well, you got to look at it from kind of a different aspect.
Okay, that's why you're here.
With
my first instinct is to be like, well, that's terrible.
So
what do you?
The reason. So thinking back to being able to shoot that many dove in a day, Argentina has a very heavy bird population that's really infested the entire country.
It's like population control.
Yes. So I think they started. I can't remember when they started opening hunting lodges for people to travel in and start hunting dove and doing all of that. It's been 10 plus years at least, but it's only, I think, dented the population of dove there by about 1%.
Interesting. And so are they trying to get the dove population under control, or?
And that's kind of what it is. So the way we like to look at it is it's a way for them to have people come down, pay a lot of money that helps them in the end keep the amount of birds down.
Gotcha. Just seems like such a waste.
It is kind of in a way, yeah.
You
I
think
mean, we would love to be able to take it home, and I mean that would be a lot. Like,
well, yeah, but do you think like in the future, maybe if you were to go again, you could like somehow donate all of them to people who need them, or?
Well, so moving into that trip, we had all that. The doves got left in the field. Like, we're just like, it's whatever. We're hunters. I mean, and then so we moved to the next place, which was for duck hunting. And the duck hunting, I think the limit was 25 per person, 25 ducks per person.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean,
so there was a limit to the ducks.
Yes,
but not the doves.
Yeah, but not to the doves, but there was to the ducks. But if you think about it, in California, depending on which kind of ducks you shoot, there's different kinds. You could be limited to one, and I think like the max is like 3 per day for ducks.
In Argentina?
This is in the United States.
Oh, okay.
In Argentina, it's 25 ducks.
Right. Okay.
Per person.
So comparatively speaking, it's vastly different.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so with that, we hit our limit within the first hour we were out there. It was ridiculous. And then we collected up all the ducks. We took pictures and everything. And all of a sudden, this dude just comes walking down the dirt trail that we were on. And he stopped by the truck. They handed him the ducks, and then he just walked off. And we asked him, we were like, well, what is he doing? They're like, oh, after we shoot ducks here, we hand them off to him, and he goes and distributes them to poor families, which we liked hearing that. It made us feel good about that.
Yeah, that's good. Okay. Do you think they'll ever do that with the doves? Do as many, your family, you said you like to eat dove. Mm-hmm. Is that like a common thing? Do other people, other people who eat dove, or?
I mean, I guess it really depends. I mean, hunting dove over time a lot. I've known guys who, at the end of the day, they hand us theirs and we take it home because they don't really care for it. But then I know other guys that just, they love it as much as we do.
Okay. So, bottom line, very different.
Yes.
In hunting regulations from at least Argentina to the United States.
Yes.
Which is actually a pretty good segue, because what I wanted to really talk to you about, I don't find as much controversy in hunting in the United States, specifically like, deer, like mule deer and bear.
I'd say we have pretty good regulations on everything with all of it.
We have it mostly under control with elk and all that. It doesn't really get out of hand. And also, I think part of it is we don't really have those exotic animals. I mean, maybe because we live here, we don't think of them as exotic. Maybe like other people in Africa coming here to hunt a bear would be different. But
maybe. But I mean, when you look at it like giraffes and elephants, those are some stuff that we just don't see here in the United States, or really anywhere.
But either way, here it's much more regularized or controlled, or whatever you want to say, than it is in other places.
Yes, and I would say, I mean, this will probably lead into here in a little bit, but here in the United States, I think we value, I mean, or at least people who hunt the United States animals more valuing it for taking the food and the meat from the animal. I mean, yes, part of it's the trophy, like the look of it, they get to present it, but there's also a lot with being able to take food home, and I mean, you have meat for almost the entire next year,
which is probably the most important part, right?
But if you look it over in like Africa and stuff, and hunting giraffe, elephant, like you can't really eat those. They're not. They're not really edible to us.
Not edible. Okay.
Most people, they hunt them strictly just to say I shot one or I killed one in the looks.
Interesting. Well, we've talked sort of off camera about this a little bit. You kind of know that how I feel. And when I hear that, my question is just like, why? Why do some people feel it necessary to travel to Africa, pay thousands of dollars to say that they shot an elephant? What is
Well,
in it for
I
them,
would
and
say
what's the thrill?
one, most of the time, the U.S. dudes that are traveling over to do that are just rich assholes that don't care about anything.
Okay,
Um,
so
two,
borderline unethical people in the first place.
yes, and then I mean the other one is really just you get people who are so into hunting that they see these animals and they like want to be able to show off that they got one because hunting's just their thing.
So like a zealot or a zealot or however you pronounce the word. People who are super zealous about hunting and
Hmm.
shooting particular animals, and they probably have like a list.
Yeah,
Theoretically, they would go down the list like lion, rhino, elephant, giraffe,
yeah,
all the way down until they shot them all. You know,
yeah.
that sort
I'm
of
sure there's
approach,
people out there like that. Yeah.
and they don't eat them
No, there's
for the
really
most part.
because just going off if you can't eat them. So after I shot my elk last fall,
Mm-hmm.
we took it in to the taxidermist so
Uh-huh.
we could get that going for it.
Mm-hmm.
And when we were waiting in there, there was these stools, but they're elephant feet,
Oh,
and they were actually it was the actual elephant feet. The guy had the legs shipped from Africa over to the United States to have those done. And
I don't know
we
how I
found
feel
that
about that.
very interesting that out of everything you could do with that, he chose to turn them into stools.
I don't know how I feel about that, Trevor.
It's interesting.
I find that extremely unnecessary.
Oh,
Is what I find.
100% unnecessary.
So okay, I guess we did segue. What I wanted to talk to you about is this controversy surrounding trophy hunting.
Mhm.
Period. I don't find much controversy in hunting in the United States, hunting for deer, hunting for food, or whatever it may be. I totally understand that. I totally get it, and it's fine with me. What I don't understand and I don't agree with is why people will go over to Africa specifically, because, like we said, the regulations in other countries are laughable compared to the United States, right?
Yeah.
Why are they taking advantage of this system to go hunt animals that are already endangered or close to being endangered in the first place?
Yeah, I mean, I completely
You agree
agree.
with me?
Yeah, no, I
Okay.
agree. Like, I find it completely unnecessary for the need to go do that because, I mean, most of these animals, I would say probably almost all of them are endangered. That,
Or close to being.
yeah, that are getting hunted. And we want to see the population of these animals grow. We don't want to see them go down because eventually, if we keep doing this, they're going to disappear.
Mm-hmm.
And then, what are you going to hunt anymore?
Well, you're going to be
Like,
stuck in the United States. Or worse, they're going to go to another continent. They're going to go to Asia and hunt the exotic animals there.
I mean, I'm sure they're already doing it
You're
there. I'm
probably
sure it's
right.
all over.
Um, Before we started this, I was doing a little reading on this, and I was reading because my first thought going into this in this whole debate is that exotic trophy hunting is bad, in my opinion. And what I wanted to find was a reason for it not to be, right? I wanted to find a good argument in favor of exotic trophy hunting. And what I found, and what most people who side in favor of exotic trophy hunting, their main argument is that the thousands and thousands of dollars they pay to go over there and shoot the lion in the draft goes to the governments of those countries for conservation efforts. So the money is supposed to go to these people who are supposed to protect these animals in a crazy ironic way. So you're going over there to hunt a lion, but the money you paid to do it is supposed to go into protecting the same lions that you're over there hunting, which is a great thought in and of itself, right?
Yeah, and I would say even the people. get away with or try to say that here in the United States too a little bit.
What's that?
With they believe that because you have to pay for a tag and all of that and do that in the United States, and I know some people who like to hunt and they just want to kill everything. It's just I don't know why
Just too much.
they go over the top, but they just argue all the time like, oh well, I'm paying this money anyways to give back to the conservation. Well, it doesn't really do much when you're killing the population off.
And what's worse is that, like I said, I was trying to find a good argument in favor of exotic trophy hunting. But what I found instead is that a lot of the money that they pay is actually going to corrupt government officials.
No, 100%.
So instead of the money getting put back into conservation efforts, these $50,000 price tags are going into the pockets of these government officials who just hold onto it and keep it for themselves instead of putting it toward the conservation, what the whole point of the thing is. And so when I read that, and I know that people in the United States know that, or maybe they don't, but they should. And if they don't, maybe they will in the future. Maybe 8 million people will watch this, and all of a sudden, people will understand.
Everyone's educated now.
People will be educated because of 2 college students in the middle of nowhere. It doesn't matter. If people in the United States knew that, or if they already do know that, and if we are the best, quote unquote, best hunting regulated country in the world, and I don't know if that's true or not, but we're definitely at least one of the best. Why cannot we regulate our own people from going over there and killing these exotic animals?
You can't really regulate the people mainly just because of like, I mean, you got your amendments, like freedom of speech, stuff like that. They can't. It takes away their freedom in the United States if you say no, you can't go do that.
But we say,
and it's not something that's like harmful to the U.S.
Okay.
You understand kind of what I'm getting at?
Sort of, but like I want my rebuttal is I want to say, and we agree on this whole thing, but you're playing the devil's advocate. It's good. My rebuttal is we regulate. I mean, we don't allow people to kill each other. We don't. You're not supposed to go to another country and then participate in embezzlement or anything like that. So why, if we're going to regulate hunting in the United States, if you can't rob a bank in the United States and you can't rob a bank in Africa, why should you be regulated in the United States but not regulated in Africa? Is that like Africa's problem? Is that those countries' problem and we have no control over it?
Yeah, I don't think we can really step in and place, because over there they won't have enough people to enforce it, and there's too many people who, even if it is enforced, they're still going to do it.
Plus the corruption.
Yes, and I mean the corruption. Even if it's just if you send our people there, it's still won't really do much about it.
It's not like something you can start a war over or anything like that, you know.
Yeah, and I would say
what are we going to do? Blow them up, you know?
Even if the U.S. does like step in on it and say like we like as a U.S. citizen you cannot participate in that anymore, like you like have legal problems after that, people are still going to do it.
Right.
Just because, I mean, how are they going to track you going over there?
Well, they can. Yeah, that's the point. I mean, they would be able to track, you know, where you're flying, but they wouldn't be able to track what you're doing over there. That's
exactly. And if you're doing it and they're there, no one's going to say anything. So, because they're getting their money.
So basically, it's a problem that we can't solve from over here.
No, it has to be solved from within over there.
Which means most likely it won't be solved. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that. There are definitely.
Well, there is a way for us to step in and solve it, but it would have to be from us stepping in through a government standpoint, where we have to go through their government.
Right.
It couldn't be where we just walk in and say no more.
Yeah. It'd have to be like a team effort, a cooperation type thing, which would be difficult because people over there don't want to do that because it's bringing in money.
Yeah.
So it's a problem that we cannot solve from here, that they would have to solve from there, which most likely won't be solved due to the just lack of ability to do so
Yeah,
by those countries.
It's not really top
Yeah.
on our government's list, I would assume.
Yeah, right. That too. That's not a huge pressing matter for the United States, I suppose. But there are people over there who are trying, to protect these animals.
And I'll say there's even people here in the United States that are trying to stop.
Doing what they can from here.
It's hard to do, but they're still stepping in and they're trying to at least raise awareness for it.
Yeah. Like I read, not the other day, but a while back, I read about there's like this squadron of men in Africa who literally day night guard like the last remaining white rhino on the planet.
Yeah, no, there's definitely. Well, so with rhinos actually in Africa, this isn't more for trophy hunting. This is kind of going a little bit off topic with trophy hunting, but kind of along the lines of trophy hunting.
Are you about to talk about poaching? I'd like to talk about poaching.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, man. Yes, it is poaching. My bad. So rhinos, their horn.
The ivory.
Sure, you use some big words for me.
Pretty sure it's ivory.
But
same with elephant tusks.
When it can be ground down or something, and whatever ingredient in it is believed in Asia to cure hangovers. And so you have black market people coming over, killing these rhinos illegally, literally sawing it off.
That's amazing.
And then
shipping it to Asia.
Yeah, and I guess like the cost of like one of them is just absolutely ridiculous.
Right. So poaching is also a problem. It's not like we don't agree with the whole exotic trophy hunting thing, but that's also not the entire problem. There's a big poaching problem in Africa for these animals, particularly elephants, particularly rhinoceros.
Yeah, I'm saying like even trophy animals, or what you consider a trophy animal, they get poached all the time too. There's no stopping that. I mean, you have people who, they just don't care. They'll just be there and just shoot one or whatever, or kill one.
Because they can, they want to.
Yeah.
And with no remorse or anything like that. But yeah, the problem's not just Americans traveling over there to shoot these animals. They're just kind of perpetuating the situation, making it worse. Even if there's only, there's not that many people who are able to do that. It's expensive.
It costs a lot of money.
Money which doesn't go to the right places all the time. But it does. Maybe that could be part of the solution is you just jack up the prices for these things. If we can't defeat the problem entirely, we can just make it super difficult for these people to go over there.
Quick thought.
Even though if they're already rich in the first place and able to do that, they're probably going to be able to do it anyway. Think it out with you.
So the government, our government, we have them jack up the prices, saying that they will make more money because they're jacking up the prices. Therefore, less people will go hunt.
Yes.
They'll still get their money. Both sides are happy, or at least for the meantime.
True. Because if you double the price and one less person goes over there, that's the same amount of money minus one animal shot. So you triple it, and you lose two people. And anyway, not a bad idea, Trev.
A little quick thought.
It's a good thought. I didn't even think of that. It's a good thought. But yeah, no, this has been a great conversation. Do you have anything else you'd like to add or contribute, or questions you might have, thoughts, feelings, shout outs, messages, anything like that?
I don't think I was supposed to give any shout outs. I'm not going to do
that. No, you're good, dude. Yeah. You're good with whatever. It's been great. If you've stayed with us this far, thanks for tuning in once again, all 8 of you. Please subscribe. Please like the video. Share the video. Maybe even have a conversation with your peers about this very topic.
Send comments if you can do that.
Comment.
I don't know if you can do that.
Yeah, well, this will go on YouTube. It'll also be, it should be a podcast. I think it'll be on Spotify. I'm not entirely sure. It's whatever Anchor does. It's the app we use. But yeah, anywho, thanks for tuning in. Till next time, it's been MJ's Thoughts. See y'all later.